Hey, it's John here, working on 4Clojure problem number 110, sequence of pronunciations. Okay, strange little sequence. What it does is you give it a input vector, and it's going to take each set of numbers that are the same and give you the count of those numbers and then the value of that number that was the same repeated. So here we have a vector with just one, so that turns into 1, 1. And the next one says, okay, there's two ones in a row, so we have two ones, and then we have, when we look at that one, then we say we have 1, 2, and then 1, 1. Okay? So let's just start by trying to figure out how to write a function which will take one input vector and return that. So let's make our function pronounce, and it takes in some sequence S. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to group our input by identity, and that will put all the repeats into a vector. Alright, so let's try that out. Let's see. So pronounce 1 should just give us, let's get everything initialized here. Okay. And we don't want group by, we want partition by. Let's try that again. Okay, so now that took our vector of 1 and made it into just 1. So now if we have two ones in a row, and then there's that. If we have 2, 3, then we should have 1, 1 together, then a 2 and a 3. And if we had, say, another 3, then we'd have those 3's grouped together. Okay, so then that partitions our vector into subvectors that are sequentially identical. Alright, so after we partition that, we want to transform each subvector into the size of that subvector and the value of each of those elements. So let's map a function that is going to take a sequence, and we're going to return a vector which is the count of S and the first element of that list, and we can map it over our partitioned list. Okay, let's try that out. So there we go, we transformed 1, 1, 2, 3, 3 into 2, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3. So let's look at that. If we just have 1, it turns into 1, 1. If we have 1, 1, that turns into 2, 1. 2, 1 turns into 1, 2, and then 1, 1. Okay, and here we see our first problem. That doesn't match up because we ended up with two vectors instead of one vector. So if we did map cat, then we have it in good shape. Is there a map cat v? No. We want a vector to match up, so we could do it into vector here. Okay, there we go. 1, 2, 1, 1. Alright, so now we have our function figured out. We just have to get the lazy sequence bit figured out. So what we want to do is we're going to have a function that we call, and then we need to do, we're basically going to cons our first value onto lazy seek of the next value. Okay, so let's call this guy. All right. Okay, let's make a function that we're going to call, because we need to call this function twice. Once to get it the first time, and then another time to get it into our lazy seek. So do let our next function be this thing. Okay, and our next value is going to be when we call next function on our input sequence. Alright, now we can so we're going to cons our next val onto the lazy seek of calling our next function on the next val. Alright, it compiles, that's pretty good. And so now we have our lazy seek, so let's do take 5. And let's just start with that base case of 1. Okay, take 5, pronounce. What do we mess up here? Key must be an integer. Let's see. Print s. Is this 1? Make sure that our next val is printed correctly. So we didn't even make it that far. Oh yeah, sure. We need to turn this into a function. Function of s. That makes sense. Break this up a little bit so we can see it there. All right, let's try that out. So our next val, 1, 1, that looked good. And at our lazy seek, oh, we don't call the next function, we need to call pronounce. Let's try that again. There we go. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1. Alright, so we can take out this print line. And that'll probably work. Let's change that to function. Stick it in the machine and see what happens. Okay, we got it right. Thank you for watching.